Episode 4 begins with Sanha receiving a phone call from his mom. He appears tired, as if he didn't sleep well, with red, puffy eyes, possibly from crying. He lies, saying he was studying. On the bus, Rajam tries to persuade Ju-won to give up on dating her secret admirer. Sanha remains silent. When they get off, Dal is waiting for Ju-won to share that he found out who wrote the letter to her. She explains that some classmates arrived early and spotted the guy who wrote the letter. Gossip spreads quickly, and Rajam hurries to tell Sanha to relax, as the admirer is a good student, tall, and handsome. However, Sanha doesn't seem pleased by this. Ju-won found the guy charming and approved the meeting. The two bump into each other, and he invites her on a date. As she agrees, Dal, Rajam, and Sanha watch from afar. Later, on their date, Ju-won notices that Junho is very picky with food and even dislikes cake. The worst part is when he comments that she seems cheerful and optimistic despite being raised by a widowed father in a rough family situation. She doesn't appreciate this remark and responds that she has 2 older brothers and 2 dads and that the absence of a mother doesn't define her. Annoyed, she asks him to pretend they don't know each other and leaves. On the bus, she reflects, reaffirming to herself that she and her brothers are unique. At dinner, Rajam speaks highly of Junho, but Sanha isn't thrilled and suggests Rajam not judge the guy by his appearance alone. Is he jealous? Ju-won arrives just in time for dinner, and Rajam curiously asks why she came back so early. She replies that she has no intention of seeing Junho again, relieving Sanha. However, her excuse is that Junho is picky with food and doesn't like cake. Sanha senses that's not the only reason. The next day, Dal wants to know why Ju-won ended things with Junho so quickly. Junho appears, apologizes, and asks Ju-won for a second chance. She questions if he mentioned their conversation to anyone, and he denies it. With that, she says she'll think about it. Dal is curious about what happened, but Ju-won doesn't explain. Sanha's mom appears outside the school to see him. He is leaving school with Ju-won and asks her to go home first when he spots his mom. They sit down to talk. Young-hee suggests that Sanha might feel resentful that she's been away for so long. Sanha responds, saying she hasn't even answered his calls for 10 years. Young-hee tries to divert the conversation, saying she's in town and plans to bring his sister, So-hui, who's now 7, to visit. Ju-won takes Rajam to the restaurant to offer support for Sanha if needed, but Rajam refuses, asking Ju-won to let Sanha handle the situation alone. Inside, Young-hee tells Sanha she's willing to forgive him, which only angers him more. He questions what exactly she plans to forgive him for and brings up his late sister, making the atmosphere tense. Rajam recalls his own mother leaving him and feels down as he walks home. Sanha ends the conversation, asking Young-hee to tell his grandmother to stop calling him. He wishes his mom a happy life and leaves. Concerned, Ju-won wants to know if Sanha is okay. He walks absent-mindedly, nearly crossing the street without looking. Ju-won pulls him back, preventing an accident. Emotional, Ju-won scolds Sanha with tears in her eyes, asking what his mom said to him. He responds that she simply gave him a lecture and threatened to punish him. Sanha takes Ju-won to eat cake to cheer her up, finding some comfort himself as well. Young-hee meets with Dae-wook at his workplace. During the conversation, she mentions her other family and how she had to return to Seoul to keep the family together, which bothers Dae-wook. Young-hee says she wants to take Sanha to Seoul to help him with his college admission, asking Dae-wook to try to understand her. Dae-wook becomes frustrated, questioning why he should understand her abandonment, ending the conversation and leaving. Jung-ji consults a lawyer and learns that Rajam's biological father has an advantage in a custody battle, making it challenging to keep him. That night, Dae-wook goes out drinking, and Jung-ji picks him up, using the opportunity to suggest he talk to Sanha about his mother to bring him some peace. At dinner, Ju-won wants to know what Sanha's mom said that made Dae-wook drink so much. Rajam seems annoyed by the topic of Sanha's mom. Sanha then shares that he asked his mom to stop contacting him and asks if Rajam feels satisfied. This triggers Rajam, and he confronts Sanha, who tells him he doesn't need to be jealous since his mom still blames him for his sister's death, which is why he chooses to avoid her. He recalls she even left them without food for 2 days back then. Rajam tries to argue that Jae-hee is still his mom, but Sanha insists that there are toxic families, mentioning Rajam's father. Sanha and Ju-won enjoy ice cream together, while Rajam refuses. Ju-won notes that Rajam acts this way because he misses his mom, and Sanha agrees, knowing Rajam holds onto hope that she'll return someday. Dae-wook talks to Sanha about Jae-hee and promises she won't bother him again. Meanwhile, Ju-won tries to convince Rajam to make peace with Sanha, even offering him ice cream. The next day, Dong-gu's assistant suggests a new approach with Rajam, as the previous attempt, focused on money, didn't work. At school, Sanha meets Junho and takes the opportunity to warn him that Ju-won shouldn't be involved in a relationship yet. Junho mentions Ju-won's cheerful personality, and Sanha suspects he must have said something about her family situation, as she was visibly upset. Rajam gets annoyed by the burgers his biological father sent to his team and ends up in a physical fight with a teammate. Sanha arrives just in time and asks Rajam to come with him for an urgent matter concerning Ju-won. The rumor that Ju-won's brothers took Junho to a warehouse spreads, reaching Ju-won. She rushes to defend him, assuming Rajam was threatening him, only to discover it was a misunderstanding, and Junho hadn't said anything. Rajam tells Junho to keep his distance from Ju-won, even as friends. On their way back, Sanha tells Ju-won that she shouldn't bear her pain alone and can rely on them. At that moment, Jae-hee shows up at Young-hae's restaurant with her daughter. When Sanha and Ju-won arrive from school, the little girl sees him, and Jae-hee encourages her to call him Appa, a bit timidly. Sitting down to talk, Jae-hee comments that the little girl resembles his late sister, but Sanha, coldly, asks Ju-won to take the girl outside. The younger sister, So-hee, tells Ju-won that they're planning to take Sanha to Seoul with them. Sanha informs Jae-hee he won't be going to Seoul and that his family is here. Rajam, seeing this, tries to stop Sanha from treating his mom harshly, but Sanha gets upset and retorts that at least Rajam's mom had the decency to promise she'd return for him. Rajam, of course, dislikes hearing this and punches him. The episode ends with Sanha shouting that, in the eyes of others, they're just boys abandoned by their mothers. If you enjoyed, like, comment, or share, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep following the best dramas here.